Welcome back to High View for another casted game. On the south side in the red, we have ranked opponent, also known as Corvinus 1, and on the north side in the teal we have Downfall as the Delhi Sultanate. So I'm really excited for this matchup and also to see how these players scout, because to be honest I still haven't figured out exactly how to scout on this particular map since they made the changes and moved all the sacred sites and stuff to the middle. So it's going to be interesting to see who gets the biggest sheep haul. But one thing I am really interested in is this particular matchup. The Knights Templar have really spoken to me since the announcements and all the unique units and all of that kind of stuff, and Delhi is the one that always seemed like it was going to be the ultimate counter or the really big enemy of the Knights Templar, obviously before we knew about the House of Lancaster. Also, just we can see now, let's have a little look as we're seeing the scout vision Downfall going across. One thing I think people are going to need to be careful of is just touching these outposts. So when you do it, obviously he only stood on it for a second, but if you stand on it for too long, your opponent can actually see that little line. So just to be a little bit careful there in case someone's being really sneaky and noticing your scout path. But as I was saying, I think this particular map is actually very good for both of these players, for Knights Templar and for Delhi, because the sacred sites are pretty open. The stealth forests make it quite difficult to see what's going on this map as well. But the problem is Delhi wants to contest sacred sites in the feudal age. They want to capture sacred sites. That's basically what their bread and butter, that's what they want to do. Whereas Knights Templar, if they want to go for pilgrims, they need to make sure that those sacred sites aren't capped, because as soon as they get capped, you can't send your pilgrim there. So Delhi being able to basically just cap all the sacred sites and immediately just cut the gold out from underneath the Knights Templar player is a really tricky one. And also, it's difficult for the Delhi player because what are Knights Templar doing? If we take a little look over at Corvinus's base now, we can see he's not on stone, so potentially he's going 2TC. I doubt it, because looking at the builds that I've seen quite a few people doing, like Crackady has a really good guide, check out on YouTube, really nice. We can see he's going for the Principality of Antioch. Now, one thing you will also notice, which I think is going to be quite difficult for the opponents of the Knights Templar, is you can't see the age up. Look at this town centre. There's nothing there until the flag's complete that tells you. So actually, when do you scout them? Because Corvinus went for quite a slightly slower age up. He went for wood first of all. So what do you do in that case if they go for the age up, they start just gone 2 minutes? Sometimes they might age up after 3 minutes. It really depends on what the player's doing. But the Antioch gives the bonus to the melee units. We can see here plus 10% melee damage, and it also gives us the Sergeant, the Axe Boys. So it looks like Corvinus is going to be making use of those. At the moment, I think the Chevalier Confrère, or as I like to call them, the baby brother, is more popular, but I think definitely these guys have got a really good use case. So it'll be interesting to see how Corvinus puts these guys into action. Now, we can also see he's gone for the immediate safe passage, so aging up and hitting that safe passage immediately, and then he's going for his barracks to start getting those sergeants out. If we go over to Downfall's base, we can see he's got Dome of the Faith coming up, just the classic Delhi things here. He's still gathering up the gold, so he's got enough now, I think, for 2. Whether he's just going to continuously get the healing up, we'll have to see. But we'll wait and see what he's going to do. Realistically, it's probably going to be Ghazi, but you never know. These guys are top level and they like to cook, and that's why I love to watch it. But the first pilgrim is out. Now, I've been waiting for this. Can we see it? Don't annoy the wolf. Don't do it. Run! That's literally one of my favorite things in the game now, is literally they shout run or help when they're chased by the wolves. And this is not what the pilgrim wants. Quick! I need the gold. Now, actually, this is really good for Corvinus because actually it speeds them up. They only run faster when they're attacked by wolves, which I think is absolutely hilarious. So we'll just watch this guy as they're going back. I just think it's really nice going through the high view. And then Will the pilgrim make it? There we go. A little prayer and some gold is going to go into Corvinus's bank. There we go. Now let's get back to the action. So we can see Corvinus is scouting up and his sergeants are starting to come out now. If you haven't seen these boys in combat, they've got okay health and they've just got 10 melee damage. Now this is really interesting. There's no counter damage. So, oh, look at this. Nice work. This is something I've been thinking about a lot as well. Corvinus is shifting the route every time. So he's gone that way, now he's going to go this way. This is really going to force Downfall to be on the ball of where he scouts, because he can send all of his scholars out to the sacred sites when he gets the upgrade, which... Am I losing my mind? Is he going for the... Is he got it already? No, it can't be. Where? Hello? Am I losing my mind? I think so. Here we go. There we go. Sanctity. It is Sanctity. So that one, once that's in, he can send them out to all of them, but he's going to have to be quite careful. But the reason I think these sergeants are really interesting, wherever Corvinus has managed to send them off to this time, here we go, is because they do just plain damage. There's no counter. They don't counter archers. They don't counter horsemen. So in general, they're not the most effective in direct combat, because most of the time horsemen do loads of damage against archers and stuff like that, as we can see. Oh, there we go, defensive. Look at that. So throwing the little axeman there, so keeping that gold defended. They do pretty well against horsemen, but where they really shine is destroying buildings and siege, because if we take a little look, these guys don't have melee armor. So archers do absolutely nothing to buildings, but these guys do full 10 damage every time they hit a building or siege. So something really important to keep an eye on, where if you want to figure out how to use these guys. Now, both of these players trying to get out this outpost so they can see where the pilgrims are. And we can see that now Downfall is getting this abandoned outpost. Anywhere you stand in there and the more units you have, the quicker it's done. So he's going to get that now. And now if we take a little look over at his side, he's going to have vision, which is really going to help him trying to deny those pilgrims, because at the moment he can't see as Corvinus jumps out of the Stealth Forest and comes over to try and get these. So this is something I think is really interesting, especially in this matchup, that they're going to want to contest these outposts, because it's going to give them so much information of what to do. But look at this. Now, these guys, once they're massed up against horsemen, it's so good because you can get a couple of shots off before they even get close. I think that's really nice. But we can see here the scholar is in the center, and it looks like Downfall is being a little bit greedy, sending an unescorted one over here, but he knows Corvinus isn't the most mobile at this stage, so he can't really contest all of them at the same time. But as long as one of them's open, the pilgrims are still going to be sending that gold into Corvinus's bank. So here we go. So the horsemen, let's have a little look, zoom in. Ghazi in the Stealth Forest, how are they going to do? Let's just spin it so we can see the action. So looks like they're getting a little bit punched. So also good to remember, somebody told me about this the other day, these guys are also heavy. So although they don't have any ranged armor, they don't take bonus damage from archers. So it's something to be really careful of. So if we shift back to the normal angle, here we go, and we can see over on the other side that Corvinus knows what's cracking. He sent a couple of horsemen there to go and get these, and if Downfall loses this scholar, it's going to be quite a big loss actually, because they, you know, they are expensive and they do boost the research speed. But we can see here now archers getting hit by the horsemen and by the sergeants, and I think this is the right combination to go with these sergeants, because most of the time you're going to want archers to counter these guys, so horsemen are really good. So a nice little composition, which I think we're probably going to be seeing a little bit more on the ladder as people experiment with the Templar. And this is why I thought this game would be really cool, because Corvinus likes to do some different things. He likes to play the game in a slightly different way, and at the moment Knights Templar is definitely something that people are experimenting with, and they haven't quite cracked the code yet. It feels like there's a lot to uncover. Now, if we take a look, Corvinus is still only on the one pilgrim, so he's not decided to go for free passage sanctuary. Okay, it's the other one. So he's not gone for that one yet, but he is slowly setting up his farms, and the wood gathering for these guys is absolutely insane, and the fact you get food from it as well, it means a farm transition is really effective and really easy to do early on. So Corvinus raiding up the food lines there, getting the first villager down, and look at this. See now, this building, look how quickly that's going to go down, because these guys have got torch damage. So they do, what, 13 torch damage. But these guys just do flat damage. And they are going to be blocking the spears, trying to get down these villagers and the Ghazi. I can't really see what's going on. There we go. So the scholars are healing these up. The healing is doing a lot, but Corvinus is clearly focusing on doing that damage, getting the villagers that seem to have decided that they still need the berries even while it's under attack. And a lot of those units going down, but I think for 5 villagers down for downfall, that's actually really, really good, because obviously, as the Knights Templar, you do lose some villagers going for your age up as well. But these guys basically account for, I think it's about 3 villagers worth. If they are allowed to do their pilgrimage, they're fully okay, then you get basically 3 villagers worth of gold every time they complete the trip, or every minute, basically. I don't do maths, that's what I've been told. So if the maths is wrong, then go and speak to them. So we can see here that Downfall's trying to get these sacred sites as the Delhi. That's what he wants, but he has been forced back onto the gold. So I think he's going to be thinking about moving into the castle age, because he knows these pilgrims have been dropping off. They've been getting those resources, which means Corvinus is going to either have a lot of gold in the bank, or he's going to have all of his upgrades, and it's going to be maybe a bit of a tricky situation. So another fight coming in the center. Let's take a little look. So Ghazi trying to get on top of these guys. Obviously, they do bonus damage against the sergeants because they are heavy, so this is particularly good for Delhi. But it looks like Corvinus is really heavily focusing on that scholar, trying to get it, but can he? He does get the final shot. Nice little bit of damage there, as the Ghazi are now chasing back the reinforcements. So because, as we said, heavy melee and Ghazi have that +2, so just a little buff against them, but they do have a lot of melee armor, if I remember correctly. So 5 melee armor. So, you know, horses for courses. It's a bit here and there, but the Downfall, while the action's going on, trying to capture the other sacred site, and we can see that actually Corvinus is decapping this one as well. He's doing a really great job here of keeping all these sacred sites open, but we do have the Angevin Empire. Now, if I remember correctly, this is with heavy spears. So we get, yeah, Fortress and Docks get 30% health, and then we've got the Heavy Spearman, which is also a barracks unit, so going really nicely with the production he has. So this is also the thing I think that a lot of Templar players are going to have to think about quite carefully is, if you're already into barracks and stables, you probably want something that's going to be barracks or stables, so then you can just continue to produce those units. So it's just something to consider with these options, because as you age up as the Templar, there we go, hitting the castle age as he's trying to deny this sacred site, but he's not quite going to be able to decap it today, and the middle site is taken. So now Downfall is clearly focusing all of his energy on getting this one. But with the Templar, it's really interesting, the choice. So we can see the heavy spears are in. We'll watch these guys trotting about in a second, but it's really, do you go for the buff? Are you going for extra fortress health? Are you going for the units? Because you do get, for example, the Genoese crossbow. Maybe you're not getting the pilgrims out, but the crossbow's super effective. Maybe you have got the sacred sites and you want to get the healing with the other options. So I think this is really cool. And yeah, obviously Corvinus also has the plus 10% damage from earlier. So now we can see their bonus damage. Look at this. They do 38 against cavalry, and they get the extra damage against elephants as well. So 2 villagers going down there for Corvinus. Downfall catching up a little bit, and we can see the full farm set up really nicely around his TC, getting maximum space coverage. Now, these heavy spears are going to absolutely destroy the Ghazi. I think a couple of hits, but they are a little bit slower. So here we go. Let's watch. Look at that. And the sergeant's also getting a shot off as well. So all of these melee units now getting a nice little buff. And oh, that's a nice little surround. I don't think Corvinus has noticed. There we go. But look how much damage it's doing. It's really taking out a lot of these Ghazis, but the numbers do win out in this case. We can see Corvinus is trying to find damage. As we can see, the House of Learning has come up and raids coming in on the backside. So luckily Corvinus has noticed. The archer's not quite going to do that, diving under the TC, doing Delhi things. We can see that Corvinus has found the resources at the top, and he's also raiding on the backside as well, catching a couple couple of those Ghazis out. But this is a classic Delhi move where you take your units and when you're raging up, you basically just throw them at your opponent to get as much damage as possible, because realistically, with the Pro Scouts, nice little block there from Corvinus, you don't want to spend ages upgrading your units. You want to go straight into men-at-arms, into lancers or knights. See, you can see here crossbows, they're all queued up because they don't need the upgrades. So this is something really important to remember. Oh, there we go. Some more heavy spears going down, but taking a lot of those guys with him, because Delhi, their upgrades take forever. They take so long. Here we go. Some more sergeants getting caught, but they don't see. That's going to be a lot of damage. I don't think Downfall realizes how much damage he's going to take from these heavy spears. Look at that. The Ghazi just melted, and now all these heavy units are going to absolutely destroy those archers. As he's also diving under the base, he's got all the ranged armor. He has got ranged armor for days, and look at this. The TC's just blocking it. The men-at-arms are trying to tank up that damage. Is that a villager? Yeah, the villagers have got their shanks out. They're trying to defend themselves, but it looks like, oh, Corvinus isn't quite targeting, but the Lancers coming in with that nice clutch charge at the end. But he knows where the eco is. These guys are sacrificial lambs, and they're just going to try and idle up the economy, because that's going to make a big difference. If we switch over to the income per minute, it looks pretty good for Delhi at the moment, but if you idle up that food, that's going to drop off very, very swiftly. Also, the reinforcements coming up the center, so I can imagine that Corvinus has got his pilgrims going up to this central sacred site now. So here we go. Still just the one, because we don't have any fortresses just yet, but it looks like Corvinus has got something in mind. The Templar brothers get +2 charge for all nearby heavy cavalry. This is very, very good if you can mass up those numbers. So I think we can see which units Corvinus wants to move into next. But at this stage of the game, I think it's looking fairly even. Getting these 2 sacred sites for such a long time is such good value for Delhi. Look at that gold income. And I think Corvinus he's out on the map now. We can see he's out on the deer, he's out on the gold. He's still only 1 TC, so both of these guys, neither of them going for 2 TC. And because we have the House of Learning, where are we? Here we go. We have all of these techs. We're not going to be seeing the Compound of the Defender, which turns into more villagers. But again, the infantry's coming out. Corvinus at the moment doesn't have the mobility, but as I mentioned, the brothers are coming, and these guys are really, really good. So, nice little fight in the central sacred site there. Downfall running circles around with his scholar, trying to keep it alive. Corvinus is hating the scholars today, and he's making sure these guys don't make it, but he needs to keep this sacred site captured so that the pilgrims lose that, because that's going to be a lot of gold. And now all of these guys, the Lancers are there. Are they going to get the pilgrim? Looks like they're going to get that scholar, not pilgrim. So now, can Downfall keep all of these sacred sites? That's going to be the question. So, because these guys are very strong. 5 and 5, but they got really good charge damage, 40, and it just gets more and more the more you have. So, but this is looking a bit scary. Corvinus's eco is very exposed now, trying to get on top of these units, and look at that charge. That's very good. And in come the heavy spears to block the spears. Oh, nice. But we do have crossbows, so everything Corvinus has at the moment is countered by these units. So we're going to have to see. All the crossbows are going to counter them. So it's just about the numbers. Can Downfall keep them up? We'll have to wait and see. So in this case, that looks like that's going down. Corvinus also raiding on the top side, trying to get more of these villagers. This idle time, he's not getting many kills, but the idle's really going to hurt that food eco for Downfall. And we can see here that there's a scout decapping this site, or trying to keep it decapped over here. And the fight at the base is now swinging in Corvinus's favour from the reinforcements. So we're looking at heavy spears, we're looking at Templar brothers, and we're living our best life. So these guys are really, really strong. And I think the more of them you get, that charge damage just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you go for the Polish Imp upgrade, you do get 50% charge damage, just saying. So it's interesting that we can see Corvinus is now on the stone. He is starting to get some of his eco-techs. This is where he needs to be a bit careful, because Delhi slowly will get them all for free. And that's obviously going to make a big difference to the overall economy, as well as the blacksmith techs. He's going to have to make sure he keeps up with those, because he doesn't want to get caught out by too many of these crossbows. But whether later on, I don't think he has the wood income at the moment. if we're going to see some more siege, because Templar Brothers, if you remember, they do get a discount to their siege workshop, so we'll see that if we switch over, it's only 188, but Corvinus, there we go, a nice little raid in the base. Oh, losing a lot of those lancers. I'm not sure. Was that idle time worth it? We'll have to wait and see. This is where you've got to judge if losing these units is worth a little bit of that idle time. But we can see villagers being pulled in from the outside resources. They finally had all those berries and decided it's not worth staying out there for the gold. So he's on the safer gold at home. So enough stone here for a keep from Downfall before Corvinus, but he does have enough for a fortress coming up in a second, so where he's going to try and secure is going to be interesting. So we can see a lot of units at the front. Where's the fortress? Oh, that's bold. It's a keep on keep action, guys. We're going to see who's going to get it up first. Who can get it up? I think with this number of villagers, I think we know who's going to be the first, but it's about who stays up, how strong it is when it's up, and how much it shoots you in the face. No. So now the keep is coming up. These units being pulled in by that fire, and that's really not where you want to be fighting, but Corvinus has to try and make sure he keeps these secret sites decapped. And nice little mosque there, that's going to give the techs and the buffs to that keep and to the other stuff around it. Nice little proxy base, which is what I know all Delhi players really love. But kiting there from Downfall to try and get these heavy spears down. They are really strong, but obviously this is where crossbows really do come in very well for these. So the fortress is up. That does mean Corvinus is going to get an extra pilgrim now, so he will be on 2. He still hasn't invested in Sanctuary just yet, so maybe he'll do that soon, and then that will give him another one as well. But he has got 1 sacred site still left exposed, but Downfall knows he's got the outpost, so this is where he's going to have to be really careful to keep these pilgrims alive, because this is the difference between 600 a minute and nothing. So this Delhi mass is starting to look a little bit scary. We've got healing from the mosques, obviously with those techs. We've got the speed buffs coming in for the elephants as well. And we can see some siege is planned. Whether we're going to be seeing a Treb coming in soon, I think we're just waiting for the gold. Yep, as to be expected. So Downfall wants to get rid of this fortress. And although it's got the buffs, you can't get the trebuchet emplacement until Imperial, so Corvinus won't be able to take advantage of that because that would absolutely destroy this keep in minutes. He's also going for village fortresses, so this is still going to mean that he can make villagers from this as well, so that's potentially going to increase the villager lead. So Corvinus is going to have to be really careful, and considering he's that much higher, that must just be the age ups for the time. I was thinking maybe Corvinus has been idle, but that's probably not going to be the case. Not with these guys, they don't have idle TCs, right? So Corvinus getting the outpost and also doing this. So if we take a little look on the vision, he's got nice vision on this right hand side now mostly, but if we switch over now to Downfall, he's also kind of got the same on the other way, and he does have towers, so he knows these knights are here and they're going to be doing some raiding. So is he going to react? That's the question. So Corvinus getting a nice little charge off, trying to get some of these villagers. They are healing up because they're near a mosque, so whether that's going to do enough damage, and there is a scholar there as well, so Corvinus trying to get the hits on, but just not quite getting them. And now they can also jump into houses as well. Oh, you hate to see it. Defendable houses that shoot as well. It's like going up against the manors. It's not where you want to be. But Corvinus beating him to the siege race. So we've obviously those discounted siege workshops and discounted siege weapons makes it significantly easier for the Templar to get into that. So trying to keep this sacred site open because he's only got 1 space at the moment. The pilgrims, actually, I don't know what happens when they get there and there's a sacred site captured. Let's watch it live in action as the Delhi Keep goes down in the center. So if it's not free, do they just run to a different site? Like, interesting. So does Corvinus still get the gold? No. No, that's got to be a bug. Oh, okay, interesting. So the fortress just about to go down. That's a big loss for Corvinus. That's a pilgrim gone down, and he doesn't get the resources back because he's only got 1 landmark. So if Downfall can push into the base and get this TC, he's going to be in real trouble. But So just so you know then, if the pilgrims start running across and you capture the sacred site before they get there, even though they go to that site, they don't drop off any resources. So that's really interesting to know. So let's take a look at this fight. Corvinus trying to get a tower up to block these guys. The sergeants on the front trying to take out the men at arms. As the more siege comes out, more mangonels, trebuchets for days, and it looks like the brothers are starting to move forward with the charge. So let's see them. Downfall is pulling away, rightly so, from this fight. With that amount of siege, he's going to have to be a little bit wary now. So the numbers still looking pretty strong for him, doing a really good job of healing these guys up, because obviously the more of these you keep alive, the better the value is from those resources that you spent. And Corvinus moving in, not with the whole contingent, there's still some siege hiding behind, but these crossbows are just doing so much damage to all these heavy units. Like everything Corvinus have is countered by the crossbows, so it looks a little bit dangerous. But the trebuchets, this is a problem. So now it says landmark approaching. That's only just because they destroyed a fortress. So as soon as Corvinus gets another fortress, he'll be fine. So the fire trebs coming down. Look how quickly they're making work of that. Corvinus getting top of the siege for Downfall, and now he's going to be working down this landmark very, very quickly with the fire trebs. The super trebs firing in. And that's going to be also all of that relics gone, because he's got 4 relics when he got to Castle Age, and that's going to be a lot of his gold income as well. So he has to be really careful there, trying to keep it healed up. But that landmark is going to go down, and the villagers trying to come in and burn those those mangonels, but the lancers getting on top. The villager death numbers are going to go up and up and up, and the lancers, look at this amount of damage on those villagers. It's just 18. That's really not where you want to be once you've got the upgrades. But the crossbows still, I think, is Corvinus going to switch? Is he just going to expect the mangonels to cook it? I'm not quite sure. Running into these crossbows with all these heavy units is going to do it. But look at the speed on these guys. They are absolutely cooking. They are sprinting away. They want those relics. He needs that income. And the siege, is it going for a landmark snipe? Is that the idea? Just literally going to try and snipe out the TC? It might be a bit bold with the villagers coming in. Let's go to the vision watching. The torches coming out. Corvinus doesn't have the front line to protect them, and it looks like they're going to get burnt down by the villagers as though they're just some puny little rams, and they're trying to escape, but the lancers are on top, and those couple of sergeants are just not going to cut it. And yeah, Downfall pulling away before the real damage is done. But no, oh, I spoke too soon. Here we go. He's really coming in, because even though it's discounted, it's still like 450 resources, so you really don't want to be losing those. And Corvinus still on stone a little bit, but not quite going for the fortresses that I was expecting, because now Downfall has all the sacred sites, so that's his pilgrim income gone. So whether he's just accepting that's the case because it's Delhi, well, I'm not sure exactly where he's going with this, but, you know, he has a plan. He's producing a lot of siege. That's a very good call against mass crossbows. So we'll have to wait and see. He is still very heavy on the gold. He's secured up basically this side where at the moment the fight's happening in the center. So this is a really big location. I think if Downfall can stop Corvinus getting all of this gold, he's going to be in real trouble. But this, again, Mangonel's trying to get on the crossbows, but these brothers are good, but I just don't think it's... I'm not sure. They don't seem to be dealing very well with the crossbows at the moment, and... oh no. Here come the elephants. Luckily, Corvinus has the answer. The heavy spears are the perfect answer to them, but it's going to be all about numbers. 15 military units at this stage versus the 30. The income's looking pretty solid for Downfall as well. His base is set up. He's doing the farm transition. He's got the keeps that are printing villagers, so they're also going to be increasing his eco lead as time goes on. He's got the relics, so another mosque going down to put that relic in. And he has... all bar the middle sacred site, so some of these pilgrims are going to be dropping off resources now, so that's going to be really good for Corvinus. But the raids coming in, 26 villagers going down, and these little raids, you know, it might not look like a lot, but it is equalizing these villager numbers and actually putting them slightly in Corvinus's favor, so that's going to really work. But this is what we all need to be careful of, guys. The elephant mass. If Corvinus lets these guys get out of control, I think he's going to have a really hard time. So, but you're against Delhi, right? You know it's castle. We're almost 30 minutes into the game. If we don't see elephants, I'd be thinking that Downfall is just memeing. So it's going to be kind of expected that these guys are coming out. So Corvinus should already be thinking about that. And Downfall is very much securing up his side of the base. He's walling it up, and he's also got some he's using his infantry, which is a really nice use of his military as well. But Corvinus not going too much for the walls, doing a very long straight wall up here. I don't know if I'd have put the wall there, to be honest. I think for that length of wall, it could have just been straight across over this side, to be perfectly honest. And then you could have also secured the deer and the gold. But obviously, there are units hiding over here. So sometimes you're forced to do a wall you wouldn't necessarily like so much. But here we go. Corvinus has called it, just like I was saying earlier. This is such a valuable spot on the map now. It's actually the only massive gold left. So if Corvinus can secure this, it's going to make Downfall's life a lot more difficult. So we can see here, he sent a couple of rams in. Now, I'm not sure how 4 rams do against 5 war elephants, but I'm definitely open to finding out. So that's a lot of damage. And the elephants are faster than the rams. Oh dear, that's not what and he's just ignoring them with the elephants. He's going in, and now this is where Corvinus has to be very, very careful, because these elephants are going to tank some damage. 850 health, being healed up by the mass scholars, and they are going in for the kill. The siege is there at the front. His front line not at the front. Oh, so the siege is going to go down. That's going to be a springald going down. But the heavy spears, they are going to, if they can get on top of those elephants, it's going to be a really good fight for Corvinus. It's all going to be about positioning here. So let's follow them into the action as we go down. Let's pick a unit and we'll go this way. So here we go. So Corvinus chasing them down. The heavy spear's relatively slow. I think the elephants are actually slightly faster, if you can believe it. And the crossbow's doing here. Downfall is clearly trying to make it into a better position for his fight. Get his reinforcements in. Crossbow's coming in from the north side. Going to run straight into those brothers. And I think that's going to be good for Corvinus. A little pickup. Oh, no A moves going on there, so nobody noticed. He's running straight into the eco. This is a lot of units to use for raiding. If these guys go down, that's a big portion of his army fighting under a keep and being chased by the elephants. Look how fast these guys are. That's honestly crazy. What is their movement speed? 1.1, and what's a knight? 1.6. Okay, it's quite close, but that is super fast. I can't believe that. So we got the siege blob in the center, which is slowly building up now with Trebs, Springolds, and Mangonels. We got the fortress on this side, only one, so we've only got 3 pilgrims at this stage, and he doesn't have either of the upgrades, so no treasure towers for extra income and no desert citadels, but with only 1 fortress, I think that kind of makes sense. So there's no scholar over here, so not going to be able to actually secure this one up to block it for the pilgrim path, but Corvinus is on it. He's already securing up these ones, but Downfall is doing the same thing. He wants to keep these sacred sites away from Corvinus, so both guys trying to do the same thing. We can see here Corvinus's brothers are still charging around the base, trying to find damage on villagers, but with all of these Delhi keeps everywhere, he's slowly getting whittled down, and the numbers, again, still looking pretty strong, and the villager lead for Downfall also looking very good. So I think losing these units, it doesn't sound like a lot, but I think at this level and this stage, it's going to be really scary with these absolute speed demons charging out into your army. So I think this is where we're going to be seeing something big. It's 74 versus 54. Corvinus has quite a decent amount of siege. He's got the heavy spears, which should counter the elephants. So it's, how is this going to go? The elephants, look at that damage. All of the siege trying to get on top of those elephants to take them down. One of them getting pinned, and that elephant is going down. The second one is also going down as well. The numbers for Corvinus still looking pretty strong. The heavy spears are really trying to focus their way and get back to those elephants, because this is where all the resources are. They are the heavy units, and the Springald's doing really nice work. We can see some Trebs trying to take out that scout there. And now we've got some villagers that have been pulled. I don't think Corvinus wanted those guys to go forward. There we go. They're going to run away somewhere else. Yeah. Oh, no. He's actually doing a fortress drop. Okay. Yep. That's so the villagers are there on purpose, guys. That's yep, not a misclick. I must just be thinking about my games, but look at these. Oh, the forced march, trying to get on top of the siege. That's going to be devastating if he can get on top of all those Trevs from the back. But is Corvinus going to be able to stop it with the Springolds? The Micro? It looks like he's going to be able to pull it off. And now the Mangonel's doing some big hits. And the Elephants can't get in with these heavy spears. Oh, this Siege Blob is actually working wonders for Corvinus at this stage. The Elephant's trying to get in. But it looks like there's enough heavy spears here, which is really going to mean he's put off. Trying to run through all of those Mangonels. Nice little bit of Micro to pull them out. Lancers trying to stop this fortress going up. I'm not sure it's going to make it, to be honest, but some of the spears going to make light work of those, and almost all the Elephants are going down. Mangonels against melee units, I'm not sure Downfall wanted those. I think Springolds is probably what he was going for, because the Sergeants, this is what I was saying, look how quickly they take those out with that ranged melee attack. It's absolutely crazy. So all the siege there. The villagers still slowly building up that fortress, and if we take a look at the military now, very, very even. So the resources are even. There's another fortress coming up which will boost his income, but there is a Trev already trebbing it down before it's finished. So there we go. It is being repaired, as it were. And the villager pull, look. Downfall really hates all this siege, but he is now sending his villagers out under a fortress. So I don't think a lot of these guys are going to make it, but they're doing it for the downfall of Corvinus' empire. So the siege coming down, all just sitting idle under the fortress because that's just chilling. That's where we like to be. But these numbers now still looking pretty good for Corvinus. And now, where are we going with this? What's Downfall going to do? Because it looks like he's lost his mass. He's pulling his villagers back. He's actually sacrificed a huge number of villagers to try and take out that siege. And it looks like there's just going to be more units pumping. These guys are going to be difficult to beat. There's one Treb sitting there. Corvinus just making work of the houses to try and cap him. He's probably got a little bit of pop space. I don't think he's too worried about the houses, but this is all going to be about massing up. Two of the landmarks are going down, so the only villagers are coming out of the keeps at this stage, and the stream of units is slowly making its way to the centre, as well as the pilgrims. So this is going to be a lot of gold for Corvinus, and it looks like he's thinking about Imperial, and so this could be a bit of a game changer. I would imagine with the melee comp that we have going on, we might be seeing some Teutonic Knights if we make it that far, but Downfall needs to mass up these units and take the fight as late as he possibly can. If he takes this too early, these super strong units are going to make it. And as expected, the Teutonic Order is coming in as he's sieging down the base, which is also going to give access to the trebuchet emplacement on this fortress, and that will take out all of these buildings in Downfall's base. But the numbers still now looking like they're in Corvinus's favour, and with this wood income, he's just going to be able to print siege, and this is going to be a really tricky spot for Downfall. I think he might see this Imperial and be a little bit scared, especially as the proxy base with the melee comes up at the front. These barracks are going to be ready to print those Teutonic Knights, which are really, really slow. If you thought the elephants are slow, these guys are incredible snails, but once they get there, they literally will destroy your face. So Corvinus hits Imperial, and he's got Trebs trebbing down the buildings, and Downfall's trying to mass up as much as possible, going straight into those crossbows. He wants to get rid of this fortress. Doesn't look like Corvinus is going straight into the trebuchet emplacement. He's got better things to spend his gold on, and that is the Teutonic Knight. Now, when one of these guys pops out, we'll be able to see the stats, but they are crazy, guys, and they're gonna really pack a punch. So I think going for the Trebs may be a bit too expensive. I think at the moment he just needs to be massing up crossbows. I think that's got to be the priority. Definitely needs to secure the gold, but obviously Corvinus has got this one camped by a fortress as well. So really nice little bit of map controls, making it very, very hard for Downfall at this stage. And do we have one? We do. Here he is. So this is where they get... just look at that health. 310, 10-9 armor, but they move at 0.9 tiles, which is just crazy. But every unit that they kill, they debuff units around them, which is also incredible. But every unit they kill, they get an extra 5, so their health just goes up and up and up as the game goes on. Fortress has gone down, but these units are going, and it looks like we're going to be seeing the... if we switch over... They've already got their upgrades, so these are all now Imperial infantry units, and so this is pretty bad for Downfall. And those 6 trebuchets are going to be making work, but I think we're going in for the final fight. Let's pull these in as we see them charging into the Delhi base and watching. Oh, see all the purple on those knights. They've got the double armor debuff, which means they're going to be going down even more quickly than before. The sergeant's working on the back to try and get to the ranged units and to the siege. We've got more siege from Corvinus, and Downfall calls it as the Teutonic Knight plods back into Corvinus's base. But what an amazing match, a great matchup. Make sure you check out both of these guys on Twitch, and I will see you next time for some more amazing Age of Empires action.